model railroad fans, and welcome to the Union Pacific Railroad Evanston subdivision in HO Scale. My name is Daryl Cruz, owner and builder of the layout, and your host for episode 33 of season 2024. I want to begin with a special shout out to our members, especially two new members, Richard Kithcart and John Watmore. They both joined in the last week, and you can see all of our members. You can be either a brakeman, engineer, or a conductor. And I really appreciate all of the support from these members. If you want to also be a supporter of the channel, please consider being a member. There's a link in the description for doing so. Special shout out to John Watmore, the new member, who gave me a great idea for adding more staging track. It's probably the most expensive idea I ever received. I am going to do it though, and more on that when I get around to doing it. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, and here we go. This is how things looked last week. Got the road painted, Interstate 84. Been working on this for a few weeks, but got it painted and got the side concrete railings in and glued down and ready to go. And the Jersey rails are just sitting there because I want to make sure that they were perfectly straight. Got also the vegetation and ground cover, ground forms and so forth in around the interstate. So things were looking pretty good at this point. The first thing I did this week is put the lines in. So there's road striping that needs to go in, as well as the Jersey rails down the middle to separate the two lanes in the two directions. And so the lines were for separating the from one end to the other, one side to the other, separating the, here's a little template I used to draw the lines, by the way. I measured it all out, put my pencil in there, and then slid it across for each line as carefully as I could. So the lines, what you have for the lanes, you have the shoulder, the right shoulder, and then the right lane, the left lane, and then the left shoulder, and then you have the Jersey rails, and then you have in the other direction the shoulder, the left lane, the right lane, and then the shoulder. So I wanted to get all those put in and make sure that they were in the right spot. So I used a lot of research on Google Earth to do some measuring and see how wide the lanes are. Basically, it's 10 feet for the shoulder on the right-hand side, 12 feet for each lane, and then 8 feet for the shoulder on the left side. And the first thing I did after I got the lines in, then I put some vinyl tape down. This is 1/16 inch wide vinyl tape, very thin, and put it on the outside right hand as you're traveling, the right hand line, and then the center line dividing the two lanes going in the same direction. And I didn't have the outside line in yet because I was waiting for some yellow tape, was actually looking for it, but I did find it, and here I have it in place. So I have the, again, the white lines. This is how they do it in the United States. You have the white line, the dash center lines, the yellow line separate the directions of travel, and then the dash line. And again, I do use measurements as far as how long to make the dash lines, how far apart they were. That basically came out to 12 feet for each dash line and 24 feet in between each. And if you notice, I also began putting in some lines to show the expansion joints for the concrete. So here I have it all done on both sides. And I just used a Faber-Castell pin, 0.3 millimeter wide. And I just used a piece of plastic as a straight edge and very lightly made the lines. And I only used basically the weight of the pin. So I just held it on the end and then just kind of pulled it back. All right, now, once I got that done, then I got the mirror in place. And I went to Ace Hardware and picked up a mirror for $5. They cut it for me exactly to size. And then I used 2x4s to kind of mount it at a perfect right angle. And then I put in some blue paper in there for the background and then put in some trees. Now when I first put the mirror in, the blue part there was like, okay, that's too big. I was kind of, did not like how big it was and so on. So I wasn't really happy, but then once I figured I'm going to go ahead and keep going, and I put in the trees, and that definitely helps a lot. Now, generally speaking, when you're running trains, you don't look at this level, but if you take pictures and so forth, you definitely do. But I decided to go ahead and continue with it, and I think it turned out pretty good. Now, I also weathered the highway and just used some chalks for some weathering chalks for that. Definitely makes a difference when things get weathered. And I also extended the trees up even higher. All right, so I don't know if you can tell, but the original trees were a little bit shorter. I added about 2 or 3 inches. Looks kind of goofy with these little smaller trees I put in front. They look like miniature trees. I'm going to take those out and put some more trees like the ones that are up there right now, but make them maybe not quite as tall. But yeah, those little trees in front don't look good. But this is how it is from eye level. When I'm standing there, this is basically what I see. So I can't see much of the blue at all. And these trees are these are the tallest trees on the layout. They're, huge compared to all the others. But they're really, overall, they're not that tall. They scale out to like 60 feet. And so 60-foot trees are not that uncommon. They can get up to over 100, 150, even 200 feet in some places. So they're definitely not that tall of trees, but they are tall compared to the rest of the ones. I'm going to put a railing back here, and eventually I'm going to put the Devil's Slide, going to model Devil's Slide and put it back there. Hopefully get started on that. I did put a light in also back there this week, so it's not the dark corner anymore. Now you will be able to see the Devil's Slide in the mirror too. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But I'm also looking forward to putting in the rest of the backdrop also. But as you're watching a train come in, this is the whole idea of dealing with backdrops. And so when you're watching it, you're not really looking at the mirror. So here you see a train coming through. And so what's nice about the mirror is that it doesn't draw your attention to the fact that there's a road that ends in a wall. So it definitely makes the trains look more realistic because the backdrop, in this case the interstate, kind of just flows with the model part of the layout. So I think I'm pretty happy with the way the mirror turned out, and I am going to replace those small trees. I'm almost done with this area. I've been working on this for a long time. I'm going to be glad to move on to the Wholesome Cement area. This has been a very complicated and time-consuming part of the layout. Doing bridges definitely takes a lot of time, making sure it's set right. Tunnels, of course, all the rock work takes a lot of time. And then, you know, doing the interstate, some more bridges, the interstate over the main line and everything. Definitely very complicated, very time consuming, but we're almost to the point where this is all done. This, you can see the weathering. I also put in some expansion joints on the abutments, the concrete aprons there. This looks pretty good. I think the backdrop is going to work out, or the mirror is going to work out pretty good. Once I get the double slide in there, you'll be able to, you'll see where the hardboard is and the reflection, and then right there in front of you, that'll be covered with backdrop photos. I am going to be going out to Evanston here pretty soon and get some good photos that I can use for the backdrop as this train goes through. This is a double stack train. I have it going pretty fast. You can get a good look at the interstate surface. So not too much more work here. We'll see. I'm not sure how long it's going to take to do this double slide. I'm kind of nervous about doing that, getting the features to look right and then getting it to fit there and back. I'm going to be building it outside the layout and then putting it in place from top and lowering it in place. We'll see how that works as we see a local train coming through. Had my family over yesterday, and it was a lot of fun showing everybody the progress. They were all surprised how much I had gotten done since they were here last time. These bridges turned out pretty good too. And it's always good to watch a steam locomotive. The big boy, going to be seeing that the 6th, 7th, and 8th of September in Rochelle. Looking forward to getting some good pictures of that. So that's where things stand. Making progress every week. Some weeks more than others, but try to get something done every week. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I appreciate your support and your viewership. Hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful week. Take care, everybody.